Hello and welcome aboard. Nigel with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. And here we are now with part 4, pack 4 of this beautiful Ferrari 330 P4. And this is a model from DeAgostini. It's in 1/8 scale, and as you can see, it's absolutely gorgeous, beautiful looking racing car. And being a Ferrari, of course it will be. So here we have pack 4, and then you can see we have a lot to do in here. We have half a gearbox casing. There's probably the bottom of the gearbox is that. And we've got some little greeblies in here, some screws, we've got the UJ, and then there's some vinyl hose here and everything. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be quite a busy little build, this one. So as usual, we'll start off by having a look at the magazine. If you're interested in getting one of these or finding out more about it, please use the link in the comments below. I get nothing for it, but it does let DeAgostini know how much traffic I'm sending them, if you like, and that makes them more inclined to keep sending me parts for this beautiful model. So, going over the page, we have here all contact details and everything for English language adaptation. I believe this kit is actually from Italy, although it's made in China, I'm guessing, but here we've got customer services there and everything. So, we have 250 Testarossa, the last Ferrari to race with a front engine, which is quite amazing, isn't it? And that was in 1958. American driver Phil Hill at the 1958 12 Hours of Sebring, the Ferrari 250 Testarossa that he drove with Englishman Peter Collins finished in first place. So there we go. And then you can see here, there's another one there and there's another one over here. The last version, released in 1962, the TRI 330 LM, returned to the sloping stern, but without giving up the spoiler and arch behind the driver's head. Retained to improve aerodynamic strength. So there we go, that's probably like a rear wing or something, isn't it? And then here we're looking at in 1948, Ferrari developed the car with which its commercial and sporting adventure was to begin. The emblematic 166mm had no equal in the world. I'm guessing mm is millimiglia. So there we go. But there we go, beautiful looking little thing, isn't it? Almost like a Austin Healey, isn't it, there? Or even a Cobra. And you can see here, Sicily, first competition success. Ferrari began its racing career on April the 4th, 1948. On that day, the 166S, powered by a 1995cc engine, took part in the 8th Tour of Sicily, 32nd Targa Florio. It was an awkwardly shaped, ungainly, open-bodied model, which Alamino built in his Turin workshop for chassis 003S. I think it's beautiful. And here we have another one. And then here we have the Barchetta. The 166FM was a revolution in the automobile world, particularly in the field of Gran Turismo. Oh, they had that game then, did they? Joking. You can see various different versions and shapes and sizes there. All looking very, very beautiful. There are the sculpted arches and everything. Looking very nice. And there we go, beautiful looking thing. So we're now going to do the right side of the gearbox in this one. So first things first, as usual, we'll put the magazine to one side, grab our parts, and you can see here we have lovely plastic tray as usual with all our plastic parts in, so we can just cut through the plastic just like so, making sure we don't come up and slice our fingers off. And this is the easiest way I've discovered to open these packets, is just to slice through like this. It's quite thick, this plastic. It's quite difficult to cut. Go that way instead, that's better. Alright, we're going to break that away now. He says, I could turn the camera off, but I won't. There we go. So that can go into recycling, and then these plastic trays can also go into recycling. Get these apart. There we go. Those apart. So in here we have some screws. We have our gearbox casing. I'm just going to pour all this out on the bench. There we go. That box over there for recycling. So we've got our case, we've got our cover there, we've got this piece here. There's, what's that bit there? It's part of a linkage or something. There's a little piece there. We've got some screws, 3 bags of screws. Yep, SM, AP and AM screws, same as we used in the last one. There's little tiny, I've called them brackets. It looks like hose connectors for that clear hose. So we've got some tiny bags here we can stash away. We've got some hose, we'll get that unravelled and ready for use. we go, we get this untied. Again, I could turn the camera off, but I won't. There we go, get that untangled. It feels like it's a vinyl hose rather than a silicone hose, which is good because this will glue a lot better than a silicone hose would if we need to glue it indeed. Then we've got a little spring there. So we've got a spring, those two little connectors, those there, we've got the hose, everything is there. Brilliant. Okay, so we can put all that over there to one side and we can carry on with the build. So let's have a look. We've probably got some thread tapping to do again. So again, we've got another universal joint to build up. So I'm going to switch the camera off and get this built up, and then we'll go from there, because you've already seen me do one of these and I've got to cut the threads, and I know you don't want to watch me do that again. So I'm going to basically build up this UJ just like we did in part 3 and then add it to that side of the gearbox, and then we'll come back and we'll start adding these other pieces on. So I'll see you in a sec. Okay, done that now. There you go, you can see that all done and that's in there nicely. So there we are. Tighten that screw up. I've actually I only cut the thread a couple of turns, and then the actual biting into the metal acts like a thread lock. And but just tighten it up and just slacken it so that it turns. You don't want it wobbling around or anything. So same with these UJs. You can just, you know, give these a little tiny nip, just so that they're not too floppy. So you can see there it all moves, which is absolutely fine, but it's not all flopping around. The screws will actually come loose themselves. That's probably because I've cut the threads, but they won't go anywhere. So what you can do is put some thread lock on them if you want to, and then they won't fall out. If you build it as the instructor and just put the screws into the metal, they will lock in themselves because you're not cutting a thread for them to go in. So I've secured that from the inside with the AM screw, like they say, and now what they want to do is fit the clutch lever by inserting the two small tabs into the similarly sized holes on the right side of the gearbox, photo C. So you can see here, this is the right side of the gearbox. These are the two holes, and you can see this little clutch lever here. So we've got a large pin and a small pin on there, small and large. And then in here we have a large and a small hole, and I'm guessing this is just going to press fit into here. We probably won't need to glue it, because I don't recall ever having to use DeAgostini, having to use super glue on DeAgostini models. There we go, that's gone into those holes lovely, and that's just a push fit. That's absolutely fine. That's not going anywhere. Okay, so that's the proper super glue on the back if you want to, just to make it secure, but really doesn't need it. Okay, now we're going to come down to here, take the clutch pump, I think they mean the clutch slave cylinder, is it? And insert spring 4J using pliers. Insert the spring eyelets into the pump's two upper brackets. So where's that spring gone? There it is. So we're going to basically hook this onto here, like so. Okay, it says to use pliers. I'm going to use a small screwdriver, I think. In fact, I don't think we need to use anything. In fact, probably better to use a pointed pair of tweezers, like that, and I'm going to hook that. Easier said than done. As soon as I grab it, it turns 90 degrees on me. That's gone in now. So there you can see that is firmly attached in there. So we've got a little spring, a little clutch return spring. Using light pressure, mount the pump on the right hand side of the gearbox as shown in the picture photo B. So that's going to go like that. So this is going to go into here. So we've got two pins, two holes, and that's going to press into there like that. Okay, that's gone down all the way in. So you can see we've got a lovely hose fitting with all the nut detail on there, which is very, very nice indeed. Okay, and that's also assisting with holding that clutch lever in. So there we go, so that's that done. We can turn over the page, and now we're going to start on this bit here. So remove the shift lever cover 4G and fit the detail 4H inside. This is this piece here. So this has got a pin on the back and there's a hole there. So that is literally going to press into that hole just like so. and that can stay there like that. Then we're going to turn this over. We've got more of these painted bolts, which is very nice indeed. Then insert the shift lever 4F into the cover 4G and secure it from inside using an AP screw. So we're going to get our AP screws out. There we go. So we'll get ourselves armed and loaded, locked and loaded. And then we're going to place this in through there. So this is going to be this way round. So this plate is down, the angle on the top is away from you, and then this is going to go that way round and into that area there. So that's just going to push in. Okay, needs a little push, and then we're going to get an AP screw into there and just attach that so that's in there. Okay, and then we're going to turn this over, fit the shift lever cover 4G to the outside of the side panel 4E, make sure the two parts are positioned as shown, photo A. So that's going to be that way round, that's going to go that way round, so we've got this pipe here sticking out the bottom, and that is going to go into there like that. And then we're going to grab a screw, an AP screw once again, and we're going to screw that in just like so. Remember, it's plastic, so don't go graunching it up. Just screw it until it stops. There we go. So that's gone in there. Okay, so that's that. So we've got another AP screw that can go in this bag with this one. Okay, so we've got those there. I'm keeping these in their bags because later on, as a freebie, we get a tray to put our screws in. Now here we have some AM screws, and we have 3 left over, and we're going to be using those later on, I'm guessing, because otherwise they wouldn't give them to us. And also I can see that we're not using that vinyl hose, and we're also not using the this little connector here either. So that's obviously going to be for the next part. There is nothing else to do on here. So there we are. So I'm just going to bag these screws up in their relevant bags. We'll put the little connector and the vinyl hose to one side and keep that for a rainy day. And then we'll come back and do part 5. And there we go. That's the finish of part 4. And you can see here we've got the UJ done, we've got the clutch spring done, we've got the shifter there, hose connector and hose for a rainy day. We've got 2 AP screws now, we've got 4 AM screws, and we've got 3 SM screws. So we're building those up. We always get spares, remember. So I will see you all back soon for part 5, and we'll get that done. So this is really, really nice, isn't it? Right, I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.